Welcome back to the series of videos about the life of Buddha Shakyamuni broadcast. In episode 11, we heard about Prince Siddhārtha's journey to Rajagaha and his meeting with King Bimbisara. After leaving the palace, Siddhārtha continued his journey to find the way, passing through many lands and meeting many people. When he arrived at Rajagaha, Siddhārtha's spiritual beauty attracted the attention of King Bimbisara. The king invited the ascetic Siddhārtha to the palace and offered to share the kingdom, but he refused. During their conversation on Mount Pandav, Siddhārtha revealed his royal birth and his decision to renounce his life of luxury in search of truth. King Bimbisara paid his respects and promised to support Siddhārtha in the future. This encounter marked an important step in Siddhārtha's journey, demonstrating his influence over those in power and his determination to pursue his spiritual path. The Life of Buddha, Episode 12, The Pinnacle of Meditation, Discovering the Realm of Neither Perception Nor Non-Perception. The forest of the teacher, Uddaka Ramaputta, stretches on the southern slope of the Udaya mountain range, outside the second wall of the capital Rajagaha. The forest, with its large ancient trees, sparsely populated, seems hot because the weather is entering the end of summer. Occasionally, a few fiery winds blow from the south, rustling the fallen yellow leaves. A few streams have dried up, the water flows babbling between the rocks, gathering into clear green pools with enough water for people and animals. Here and there, makeshift leaf-covered cups are hidden behind the rows of trees. A few silhouettes of monks come and go, meditating or walking, looking peaceful and calm. Master Uddaka is about 80 years old this year, tall, strong, with a high and broad forehead. He has deep-set eyes, sparkling and spirited vision, expressing an inner vitality with practice and attainment. The Master's teachings influence a large area. The congregation has about 700 to 800 people, including both monks and lay people. He received Siddhārtha as a normal student without asking about his country, origin, or family. He only gave him basic instructions. Siddhārtha did not want to go into detail. Thinking that he still had plenty of time, he planned to consider some inner problems that were still moving and bustling. Just like in the forest of the teacher Alara, Siddhārtha had to build himself a tree hut to protect himself from the dew and wind. Then, looking around at his fellow practitioners, he did whatever they did, trying to integrate with the students. Siddhārtha was now proficient in everything, so he found everything easy to understand and agree with. Master Uddaka Ramaputta, it is said, did not practice and realize on his own like Master Olara Kalama, but learned from the late Master Rama the meditations of neither perception nor non-perception, the highest concentration, attracting many monks to come and study. During the day, Siddhārtha used the same schedule as before. At night, he meditated for 2 watches and rested for 1 watch. During the day, he followed his fellow monks to beg for alms in the villages outside Rajagaha. In the afternoon, if he had a little free time, he would find a remote stream to bathe and wash, lie down and watch the clouds and sky, listen to the vibrations and the feelings that arose. Everything was peaceful, calm, and quiet. Sometimes the peace lasted, permeating every hair strand. But occasionally the questions, the truth of life and death, and the fundamental values of life would return like a dark cloud passing through the sky of consciousness. Although he was quite proficient in staying in and coming up from the states of concentration, when he returned to his everyday consciousness, Siddhārtha found himself still uneasy and still had subtle afflictions. Half a month passed quietly. The day before yesterday, Siddhārtha met with the teacher Uddaka. He carefully presented his long-standing path of practice, the levels of meditation abiding and experiencing, hoping for more correct and enlightened guidance. What? Master Uddaka was surprised. Within half a month, the young man had reached the state of no-possession meditation? No, sir, Siddhārtha replied. All those levels of meditation I learned from the monastery of the teacher Alara, and I have gone down, gone up, entered and exited quite skillfully. The old guru now carefully observed the appearance of the young man opposite him. Oh, what a handsome appearance, exuding dignity and maturity. Furthermore, he had a deep voice, fluent speech, and a precise and profound way of expressing his ideas. This was a man of profound learning, not an ordinary person. So the master kindly exchanged, "Hey, young man, the concentration of non-possession that you have attained from the venerable teacher Alara is a high level of concentration. However, that non-possession is a kind of perception, a kind of thought, precisely empty thought. As long as there is perception, there is thought, there is still the knower and the known. If you want to reach a higher level of concentration, young man, you must abandon that thought, that perception." Siddhārtha frowned. Must leave forever? Must leave forever, must abandon perception. Meaning, no more perception is synonymous with wood or stone, Venerable Master? Good question. Away from perception, away from thoughts, but not no perception, no thoughts like inanimate wood or stone. Siddhārtha said, "But there is a famous master who said, inanimate wood and stone are not without perception. They are still perception." How should that be understood? Don't believe in stupid statements. That is a farce. It is the edge of idealism and extreme materialism. Even in the no-thought realm of sentient beings, without thought, there is only the evolution of the material aggregate, still not the same as the inanimate wood and stone, because inside it there is still the latent name aggregate. But apart from perception, apart from no thought, but not no thought, not inanimate wood or stone, what is it, Venerable Master? That cannot be said, young man. Language is powerless. It requires experience, verification, hot and cold must be known. Siddhārtha understood and withdrew to his tent. So he had to leave behind nothingness, had to leave behind the idea of nothingness. Just 10 days later, Siddhārtha came to present the Dharma. The disciple has already left that non-thought. Now the disciple has settled into a state without knowing what it is. To say there is thought is not correct. To say there is no thought is also not correct. Both existence and non-existence are not correct. It is not a negation or an establishment of the dualistic existence, non-existence of thought, but something the disciple cannot see clearly. Master Uddaka asked attentively, "So what did the young man take refuge in?" "Sir, maybe it is also perception and imagination, but this is too subtle. We cannot determine whether it exists or not." "That's right," Master Uddaka nodded, "because that is the concentration of neither perception nor non-perception, nevasanya-nasanya, the final stage of meditation on the path of practice. In this Jambudvipa continent, that is the highest achievement, worthy of those who seek to leave the home life." Siddhārtha bowed his head. Master Uddaka suddenly stood up, lovingly held Siddhārtha's hand, asked him to sit on the cushion next to him, and then opened his mouth to praise. "The young man has made extraordinary, outstanding progress. There cannot be a second person like him in this world. My cultivation practice of more than half a century is only that much, only that concentration. I have faith, diligence, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom like that, and the young man also has faith, diligence, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom like that. No more, no different." Siddhārtha listened attentively. Master Uddaka carefully observed Siddhārtha for a while longer, then carefully asked his name, family lineage, hometown, and origin. Siddhārtha answered honestly, briefly but completely. After listening, the master seemed happy. "Oh, of course. It must be a superior lineage to produce such an extraordinary personality, truly a dragon and phoenix among humans." Suddenly, the teacher Uddaka lowered his voice. "Hey, young friend, hey Siddhārtha, I am old. My life is counted by each breath. The disciples under me, including the seniors, have shallow knowledge, limited attainments, and mediocre personalities. There is no one to rely on. There is no one with enough ability, talent, intelligence, learning, practice that I can entrust to inherit my career. So starting today, Siddhārtha, stay here, sit in this place to lead the congregation. This monastery is yours, hey Siddhārtha. For my sake, develop the noble Dharma to benefit the majority." When the two were talking, at first, only a few people listened, but after a while, the whole congregation heard the news. Then word of mouth, word of mouth. Now the Taoist priests were standing in large numbers, inside and outside, to witness the rare event. They were silent as a sheet of paper. The image of their respected 80-year-old Taoist master, who was so kind as to hold the hand of a young man, consider him a friend, and even entrust the entire Taoist temple to him, made the congregation stunned. His level of practice was on par with their master. His personality, knowledge, and intelligence were also respected and specially favored by the master like that. Suddenly, Siddhārtha bowed to his teacher Uddaka and said sincerely, grateful for the warm trust of the master. Although the master guided the disciple to practice to the highest level of concentration, after leaving the concentration, the disciple's minds still had something restless and uneasy. It seemed that all the subtle greed, anger, and afflictions were still somewhere, and when the conditions were right, they would arise again. After a moment of rest, he continued, Dear Venerable Master, being entrusted by you with the responsibility of guiding the Dharma is a privilege, a sacred act. I will engrave it in my heart, but I cannot accept it. I still need to go, still need to search. The goal of the path must be immortality, to step out of the cycle of birth and death, to completely cut off greed, anger, and ignorance hidden in the dark unconsciousness. Even with my last breath, I will never give up on the path I have chosen. After several more attempts at persuasion, Siddhārtha still politely refused. Master Uddaka knew that he could not keep the young man, a transcendent personality, and he sighed. More than anyone else, Master Uddaka knew that Siddhārtha was right. The so-called path to immortality was still somewhere ahead, and it was right for him to leave. He himself still had many doubts and questions. Later, Siddhārtha would certainly find the final answer and would achieve something extraordinary, something that had never existed in the world. Master Uddaka's congregation, who had already respected him, showed even more respect for Siddhārtha when he refused the leadership position and succession. It was clear that this young man did not care about status, power, and fame. Some ordinary people arose, judging others by their own standards, and now they realized that Siddhārtha did not compete with anyone for anything, and they respected and admired him even more. When he returned to his tent, one person and another held his hand, looking reluctant. Many monks came and sat around Siddhārtha's tent, wanting to understand his doubts and his future path. He confided, "My friends," Siddhārtha said gently, "I do not appear to be noble in giving up the inheritance of such a noble spiritual heritage. Indeed, my mind is not yet at peace, my intellect is not yet clear, although I have attained the highest concentration. I must go. That is the sacred and supreme calling of my life. I must absolutely and completely free myself from all external and internal bonds. I must find the final answer to all inevitable fates. Ultimate liberation is my ultimate goal, my friends." When Siddhārtha was packing his robes and some other belongings, preparing to set out, the ascetic Vapa arrived, followed by 4 other ascetics. An elderly ascetic, thin but with a quick gait, approached, carefully observed Siddhārtha from head to toe, and joyfully exclaimed, That's right, it's our Prince Siddhārtha. Oh, Lord Rama, we have met the old man here." They sat down and chatted. It turned out that Siddhārtha had thought correctly. The older ascetic was Kondanya, the wise young Brahmin who had been certain that he would become a Buddha. The other 4, Bhadia, Vapa, Mahanam, Thuvianhorn.org/P53A209572Suthai FTN1, and Asaji were the sons of the Brahmin physiognomists. They had all decided to become ascetics, hoping to meet Siddhārtha on this journey when the time was right, and they thought correctly. After meeting Siddhārtha in the Anuppayavara forest, the ascetic Vapa returned to his cave and told the story. The group was very happy, but they could not leave because Bhadia had a fever. More than half a month later, the 5 of them went to the hermitage of the master Alara, but Siddhārtha had left many days ago. Through the conversation, the ascetic Kondanya heard his teacher and friends praise and compliment Siddhārtha endlessly. In addition to the shortest time, Siddhārtha had attained meditation equal to the master Alara, and he also showed great character, virtue, and wisdom. Not everyone can refuse to inherit leadership. Kondanya was very happy and radiant. "O wise men," he said to the 4 fellow monks, "in the past I was not mistaken, and now I am not mistaken. Just seeing the great footprints of Siddhārtha here and there, I know that they are the elephant footprints of the fully enlightened one." Braving the sun and dew, the 5 ascetics came to the Udaya forest and heard the news that Siddhārtha had attained the highest level of concentration and had just refused to succeed his teacher, Uddaka. Siddhārtha's good name spread to everyone's ears. filling the quiet forest with fragrance. Knowing that all 5 monks had placed their trust in him, Siddhārtha did not hesitate to talk for a long time, presenting all his achievements, his views, his questions, his doubts, and finally how he planned to open his own path. How he had to walk on his own bare, bleeding feet, marked by his own limited pain. How he had to experience them, how he had to be with the beat, the breath, and the heart on every creative step of his life. The priests listened with their mouths agape. It was all something they did not know. No one in the scriptures or traditional religions had ever said anything like this. There was something very new, very bright, even though the path was not yet paved. The ascetic Kondanya asked cautiously, "I understand. Oh, not understand, but vaguely I feel it. But where are you going now?" Siddhārtha sighed, "I myself do not know. I do not know clearly. But I will go, venerable sirs." The ascetic Kondanya suddenly spoke loudly, "No, don't do that. Don't call us venerable ones. Even the lowest levels of meditation of the teacher Alara, we, out of ignorance, are still mumbling and talking nonsense. Obviously, we have practiced for several years, but still cannot compare to the few days of practice you have done. Then there is the high level of meditation of the teacher Udaka, that whole vast world. We have not yet reached the place you have surpassed. In the not too distant future, you will attain Buddhahood, that is for sure. So from now on, we vow to follow you as disciples, as attendants. May the monk Siddhārtha Gautama accept this." Siddhārtha frowned and said, "I know my path is still full of thorns and hardships. I'm afraid that I am not worthy of your expectations, your hopes, and I myself am not clear about what my future path will be like. It is still very vague and uncertain." The ascetic Kondanya replied, "It's okay, monk Siddhārtha Gautama, don't be so humble. Wherever you go, we will follow without any doubt or hesitation. We entrust our entire spiritual life to monk Gautama to decide. Oh, just the shadow of monk Siddhārtha Gautama is enough for us to have faith, peace of mind, and coolness. We are not afraid of any difficulty or hardship." Siddhārtha said happily, "Oh, that's good, then we'll go together." They left the Udaya forest and set out. The harsh rainy season is coming again. Dear ladies and gentlemen, you have just listened to the video about the life of Buddha Shakyamuni, adapted from the work A Life, a Sun and Moon by Master Gioi Duc. This video series will be broadcast at 7 p.m. every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the YouTube channel Buddhist Story. We sincerely thank you for watching. To not miss the next episodes, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. If you find the content useful, please share this video with your relatives and friends. All your comments are very valuable to us. Please leave comments below the video so we can discuss and share together. Thank you, and see you again in the next episodes of the video series, The Life of Buddha Shakyamuni.